Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. Mike Anders here, and I have the honor and the pleasure to speak with my Marine sister, Taylor Galadyk. And as she empowers women to step into the highest and best version of themselves as leaders in every walk of life. I have been in your circle of influence from afar for a number of years now, since your days, peak CrossFit. And it's been really interesting, just the wave tops of what I've seen, watching the evolution of your practice and coaching. Before we get there, though, I'm genuinely curious, from Marine to coach, and maybe we go back just a little bit before that. How'd you get here?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Part of it is personality, part of it is choice, and just the way I've responded to adversity. I think that the way in which I've responded to things in my life has always been to just push myself to the best version of me. I'm learning in my evolution that maybe part of that did come from some trauma in my life, and I'm healing from that so that I can be more whole from within and everything. But yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, maybe a little bit of my destiny, a little bit of the life that I was born into, and my personality, and then how I've just chosen to respond, and also how I've chosen to connect with people who inspire me, like role models, influences, and saying like, hey, this person has something that I admire, or like an energy about them that I want in my life, and just pursued that. And I continue to do that.
Yeah. Tell me about the healing, because I feel like those of us that fall into this space, and I use that word very intentionally, those of us that fall into this space of guides of various levels, very much, at least in the very beginning, if not the whole way through, we start out with what we didn't get, right? And through the healing of ourselves, that manifests in our ability to help others with their healing. So when you reference your healing, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So I'm actively, have you heard of EMDR?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I've been doing that for the past year. I just had a session yesterday, and I'm just learning so much about myself. I got out of the Marine Corps in 2017. And before that, you mentioned that I was a CrossFit athlete. And then before that, I was a competitive cheerleader at the University of Louisville, won 3 national titles. Before that, I was on the swim team when I was little. Like, I always had sports as my outlet and my way of finding a sense of belonging and family. And so a lot of it for me goes back to my family of origin and the family I was born into. My dad was a Marine. My grandfather on my maternal side was a Marine. But I would say what I'm learning about myself is within like the dysfunction of my family of origin, and maybe even some wounds to my primary attachment figures, my mom and my dad. Those attachment wounds created my sense of self, my core beliefs about myself. So I operated from those. And that is kind of when I say back to my personality and my trauma, like I'm a go-getter by nature, but part of that was also because I operated from this sense of I have to earn my sense of worthiness, or I have to earn love and belonging. And so now I'm 35 years old and I'm doing the EMDR, and I've been out of the military for a while now, and I'm realizing like, oh, wow, I have a lot to heal. And even though I've been guiding other people and coaching other people, part of that is also a trauma response. It's like, let me neglect my needs and myself and help everybody around me, right? And just keep performing and chasing and achieving. So the more that I heal, the less ambitious I become, and the more clear I get on where I want to put my time and energy and efforts. And I like to get really clear on my why behind my goals now. Is it is it coming from a healed place or is it coming from a wounded place that's a pattern and that's still seeking a sense of belonging or worthiness? And I want to operate from more of a healed place where I know my sense of worth and that I deserve love and belonging and all those things without striving for them.
That is one of the most profound filters I've ever heard. Is this decision that I'm about to make coming from a place, from a healed place or a wounded place? Is that, I got lost in that. So
Sorry,
I
yeah,
no, 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 no,
it's
no.
deep.
That's awesome. So that's what we're here for. Let's get all the way deep. And if you mention this and you just go ahead and repeat, and I'll
Sure.
apologize in
Yeah,
advance. Is that a new filter for you?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from my therapist.
Okay.
I've been working with her for about 11 months now, and
Hmm.
that's a question that comes up a lot with me lately.
Hmm. Is it now that's now it's conscious, right?
Mhm.
Has that filter always been present as you start to look at like regression and potentially past lives, et cetera? Like, is there a pattern of
Yeah,
that decision matrix that exists for you?
totally. I
Yeah.
think it's really evident and clear to see that while I wasn't conscious of it at the time, right?
Hmm.
Because I think EMDR allows you to tap into the subconscious. That's what's so cool about it. You get to rewire your brain, whereas in like CBT, you're talking through therapy,
Hmm.
and the EMDR, it taps into something deeper. And so as I'm reprocessing old memories and going through some of my past experiences and trauma, looking at it
Hmm.
from a different lens, seeing where, yeah, I've made a lot of decisions in my life from a subconscious state that was a wounded subconscious state
Hmm.
out of it's a trauma response or a survival mechanism because it was like a pattern that I have lived for all of my life. So
Yeah.
it's a new, it's like it's like, my elevated healed
Yeah.
way of thinking now that I'm rewiring my brain and approaching life differently.
Yeah. I think, we either are oblivious to or very much discount epigenetics. And
Hmm.
when you look at your perspective, that becomes, uh, to use your words, earning love, earning significance, right? That is very indicative of and of not only being raised by generational Marines, but like the Marine Corps ethos. Like everything is earned, nothing
Yeah,
is
never
given,
given,
right?
earned, never given. Literally, that is what it is.
And in my own healing journey, it was really interesting. And let me know, try this on to see how it fits.
Yeah.
What I found to be my life's greater mission is to help people lead through peace and love.
Mhm.
And there was energetic conflict in my word codes. So you would say something, and I would tune into the blind spot or the missing link or whatever, and I would use language like, "Can I challenge that?"
Mhm.
As a means to get your permission to engage in whatever we're going to talk about.
Mhm.
And it was then uh, observed for me that if my greater purpose and mission is peace and love, and I'm using language that incites conflict on any level, genuine as it may be, and with the most positive spin on it possible, it's conflict nonetheless. By in creating that friction, am I moving away from that mission or towards it? And that, much like your decision
Yeah.
making of healing or wounded, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to change the way I talk completely.
But I love that level of awareness because you're like, words mean things.
Hmm.
And we talk about that in the Marine Corps too, like words mean things. So as you're saying, can I challenge that? And that incites a level of like, let me put on all the armor and the gear to go to battle for this one. It's like, how might you reword that to me? I would say like, how can I meet that with curiosity?
Hmm.
And that
Yeah.
is a gentler approach. Or how might I observe that or be
Hmm.
compassionate towards that? Or
Yeah.
what might be a different perspective or lens to view that
Hmm.
from. But that's really cool that you're on the path of peace and love
Hmm.
because peace has been a huge word that keeps coming up in the work that I'm doing. And
Mm.
I'm
Tell me
working
more.
on a speech. I'm the keynote speaker for an event in June that's called Salute to Sisters, and it's an event for women veterans and business leaders and stuff like that. And the title of my discussion is called Performance to Peace. And
Ooh.
unpacking this room of high performing
Mm.
women who strive and hustle and take care of everybody, but asking them, like, when is the last time you checked in with yourself? Like, what does it feel like to be in your body? How is your inner world? What are your inner priorities? And my hope for the impact that I'll leave on that room and for those women, what I want them to think and feel is like, you deserve peace. You deserve
Mm.
love, like
Yeah.
without having to earn it or work for it.
Yeah.
And just like the word shalom, 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 being
Hmm.
perfect peace,
Yeah.
just keeps coming up. And it's like, it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Like the world's always going to be chaotic. Your family of origin is probably not going to go to therapy. There's always going to be that chaos, but realizing, okay, I deserve love and I deserve peace. How might
Hmm.
I go about not just coping and managing with my struggles and putting band-aids on things, but
Hmm.
getting to the root of my pain and holding up a mirror to like pull back all the illusions and all the things that I've clung to for safety
Yep.
in terms of like putting on the uniform, my identity as a Marine or my achievements or my roles or my titles. Like those things are all external of you and
Hmm.
outside of you. They're an extension of the work that you do.
Right.
Right. But underneath it, like you're a human being with a soul. And I'm very much like a believer in God and having a relationship with God and Mother Nature and each other. And so, yeah, the peace and love, like I am so in alignment with that mission and helping more people experience that
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
Because when one of us heals, it enables all of us to kind of heal collectively and live better lives, healthier lives.
100%. So let me ask you this. You're familiar with the concepts of divine masculine, divine feminine? Okay, cool. So for that, this indicates that you know enough.
Yeah.
So the for the work that you do, and as accomplished as you are, and you're married, got kids, you know, your wife and mother, you know, and I've in your social, you wear both those identities very proudly, as one should, right? Um, how is it that you navigate? Because I feel like this is, and I'm asking you as a woman,
Mhm.
and in discussions that I have with women that I coach in 2025, they
Mhm.
have this barrier up that I, you know, very chauvinistically believe is born of the feminist movement. That,
Yeah.
you know, they get to a place where like the narrative, I don't need no man,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
uh
I don't need help. I don't need
it's like,
protection. Yeah.
oh shit, like that doesn't serve me, and they're having issue reconciling that, and uh either
Yeah.
backing out of that uh that masculinity, or stepping into their defined feminine.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the short while that I've known you, and just from observing from afar, you've managed to do that really well, to not only own your space as a sovereign being, but also embrace your divine feminine, and navigate the world in that regard.
I love that word sovereign, by the way, because God made us to be that way. And I will say that it's been by choice.
Mhm.
I think that in the age of modern femininity, I will say that, yes, I believe like women should be treated as equals. And my husband and I are very much like a partnership. And he's just the perfect partner because he is a protector and a provider, but he also like embraces both parts of me. He lets me be, he lets me, be strong and determined and stubborn, but he also helps me bring my walls down and be feminine and be soft. And I need both. And I think that we're living in a time where, like, with women, at least for me, like, I don't know, a couple words come to mind as you're talking about it, like, because this is a really important topic and it's something that I've just really liked going deeper with lately. But one thing that comes to mind is the word trust and just like the models of men that we've had in our life as women, what that looked like, because we all walk around life with tons of bias. We've got confirmation bias, we've got unconscious bias, we've got conscious bias, community bias, where we know something's wrong but we do it anyways because we don't want to be kicked out of the community. Like, we have all these biases and we have different levels of trust and different models and stuff like that. So like for me, what's been critical in that is two things. Biblical, like, I'd say I didn't have a lot of biblical, what's the word, like, knowledge because I wasn't like raised in the church. And for someone who's experienced a lot of trauma at the hands of men, I've had a big problem with like referring to God as the father. And like, where is the where is the mother in church? Because it's like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and it's all this patriarchy. And so that like distanced me from God a little bit. But what helped in that was getting biblical knowledge and greater understanding, like taking back the context of what was going on during the time and how can I dissect this? Because I mean, I love Jesus, but I also love Mary Magdalene and the Mother Mary. And there's like feminine parts of that that I've sought to know more about.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, so that part of it. And then the second part is finding women in my circle who also embrace their femininity and that maybe wrestle with some of those questions, like referring to God as the father or the gender of God or this or that, to help me get some of those questions outside of my own head. So I'm not wrestling with those things in isolation, so that I can seek to have greater understanding from a feminine perspective where maybe my mom or my grandmom didn't pass down those things to me. It was very performative, like societal pressure and standard. And this is what the Bible says and what the Christian church says where women should be in leadership roles. Like, I'm very much like, no, I reject that because I have a voice. But how do we work together, men and women, as equal? And I think, to answer your question all the way back to about women that are struggling with that, it's like God designed us to operate together. I think about like
Mm-hmm.
the sun and the moon and fire and water. And so like the masculine and the feminine are created to coexist beautifully together. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just figuring out how to dance with that on your own and
Yeah.
realizing like where are my biases, or where am I putting up walls to protect myself. For example, like your right side of your body is your masculine side and
Mm-hmm.
your left side of your body is your feminine side. All of my injuries, my chronic injuries from CrossFit, Marine Corps, they're all on my right side. And I'm
Mm.
realizing I've lived in my masculine energy for so long because that was what was safe for me. That
Yep.
was what the world said: be a Marine. This is valuable in society. Do these high achieving things. You're going to get belonging and a sense of worthiness from this. Becoming a mom, it was like making food for my family, changing diapers. Society doesn't value that, but my family needs that. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
heart of my home is in my kitchen. So I
Yeah.
had to just unpack a bunch of the things that I learned from society about what it means to be feminine or soft, and get really deep with all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning into that feminine of like, how can I receive? How can I nurture? Be soft, be vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. And I'm healing a lot of those chronic injuries. I'm doing like a lot of body work,
Yeah.
just noticing where my body is storing my trauma and that
Mm-hmm.
it's keeping score. And for me, it's like all on my right side, my masculine side. So I've been in
Wow.
overdrive
Yeah.
and I feel it and I'm awake, and it's like it will take its
Mm-hmm.
toll if I don't stop and give it the space to heal. So I think for those women, there's like, that's a signal that there's healing work to be done. And for
Yeah.
men too, men who like hate women, they probably have trauma with women, or they have some issues that they need to heal. So
Guaranteed.
that's a
Guaranteed.
long answer to a big
No.
question.
Well, as I'm watching you, watching your nonverbals and your gestures, what shows up for me is yin and yang.
Yeah.
And the word that shows up for those of us that read this shit on the regular is less balance and more harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between the two is not balance being equal measure, harmony being an imbalance, an intentional imbalance in service to the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
And when you're talking about, how the masculine dances with the feminine, how men and women are here to coexist in harmony. When I'm talking with clients with regards to relationships, and this is an agreement that my wife and I have made as well,
Mm-hmm.
it's never going to be 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ever.
No. Yeah. That's so true.
But it's 100 and 100.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that my wife tells me all the time when it comes to disciplining our kids, she's like, one of the hardest things for me to do as a mom is to watch you get after our son. And I'm not even talking about ass whoopings or physical harm or anything like that, but just like driving a point home, making him stand there and present eye contact and do all the things. She's like, it is so hard for me as a mom, the nurturer in our home, to just allow that to transpire because it's necessary. And at the same time, in the context of our relationship, you're the only one that can do it. So as you're doing that, I'm like, that's 100% how it plays out in our relationship as well.
Yeah, I'm like giggling over here because literally in therapy yesterday it came up about disciplining, because I don't like to discipline, and my husband's gone a lot for work. He's still in the Marine Corps.
Yep.
And so with my son, who's about to be 6, just displaying some behaviors that are very much like not okay, it's like it's gotten to the point where natural consequences aren't enough. And I'm like talking to my therapist about like, how do I discipline and implement consequences that are within reason and that are immediate and stuff like that? Because it's not, I don't like to discipline either as a mom. And so I'm just giggling as you say that. I'm like, yeah, we're in the trenches as well. We gotta put boundaries on it for the kids, and they gotta know like this is not okay behavior, and this is tell you when you have good behavior. I can do that all day, but the discipline is hard.
The how old are yours?
So Hawk is about to be 6 on Wednesday, and Henley just turned 3.
Oh yeah, you are in the trenches.
Yeah. What about yours? How old are yours?
It gets better, I promise.
Yeah, it does. It keeps getting better.
Yeah, my son Tristan just turned 9, and my daughter Cameron just turned 7.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, they're 2 years and 6 days apart.
Cute,
like
cute.
Nicole had a plan. She was like,
yeah,
today's the day.
yeah. That's a good age gap. It's a good bond to see them. You have one of each as well. It's really cool to have a boy and a girl and have a bond.
I'm number 2 of 4 boys.
Okay.
And I was terrified to have a daughter. Because the raising of a daughter is like, there's no more unfamiliar territory for a man than that. And especially in the chaos that I grew up in. 4 of us, 2 Marines, 2 D1s. It just wild all over the place.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I'm like, just destruction and chaos.
We move some furniture every now and again. And what they say, I am a firm believer in what they say, in that every man wants a son
but needs a daughter.
And
Yeah.
it is so fun.
It
It is
is.
so fun. And talking with my mom, she's like, I wouldn't know what to do with girls. You guys are
Mhm.
just absolutely crazy and on the move all the time. And if any of you were not that, I'd have been worried.
Yeah. That's too good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your mom's a saint. 4 boys, man. I mean,
God bless her. Oh
what a
yeah.
feat. What a feat. Like, I thought being a Marine was hard, and then I had kids, and I was like, "Send me on the ship. You stay here with these kids, and I'll go."
Deployment is so easy compared to this shit.
Exactly,
100%.
exactly. You get some perspective, and it's like, I mean, kids are our greatest teachers too. Like, I
Oh.
would not be
Mhm.
on the track that I'm on right now if it weren't for my kids, because as
Mhm.
soon as they come out, you're just like, whole world has changed, and you're like, I either got to heal this stuff now, or I'm just going to keep projecting it onto all the people in my life that matter. You know, the quote of like, if you don't heal what hurt you, then you bleed on people who didn't cut you, or something like that.
Ooh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. But that also goes back to what you were saying, going back to this whole masculine feminine thing. Uh whose whose opinion really matters? Is it your societal bias or your family bias in terms of you being willing to step away from all that masculine that served you to a point? Because nobody, good, bad, positive, negative, traumatic, or otherwise, nobody continues to walk on a certain path unless they're deriving some kind of positive feedback from it.
Right.
Right. So there's no doubt that, all of that right side masculine tendency served you
Sure.
to a great extent in your journey. So let's not discount that.
Sure. Yeah.
However, you start to have kids, you get
Yeah.
married, right? Uh, in no particular order, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, oh wait, all that shit about being a Marine and achievement, da da da. Like, I I don't care about that. What I really give a shit about is how my husband sees me, how my kids see me,
Hmm.
and a lot of shit changes when you start looking at it from that lens. Has that been
Yeah, I mean, it's
part
not even how they see me, it's how they experience me, because
better? Yes.
they're the ones who, if I'm disassociated and I'm physically in the room, but I'm not in the room, my kids don't feel a bond or a connection to me. And
Mhm.
it's really sad for me to think about some of like, I had postpartum depression the first time with Hawkins, and then my birth with my daughter was amazing, but my husband was deployed. So I did that without him. And just like I said, our kids are our greatest teachers, because it forced me to be like, how am I showing up for these people in my home that see the real me without the mask of
Yeah.
performance?
Mhm.
And so it's funny, I journal every day. It's probably one of my most powerful habits.
Mhm.
And I've started leaning back into my life coaching a little bit more, promoting myself a little bit more, wanting to take on 1 to 2 more clients, because my kids are getting a little older. I have the bandwidth, but I know my bandwidth now, right? Like, it's like,
Mhm.
I know that it is fulfilling, but it's also stresses me out, and it's
Yep.
energy that I'm putting elsewhere that's not in the home.
Mhm.
So this morning, I like to ask myself, like, what matters? And the first thing I wrote down is like, my sweet babies, my relationship with their dad, my relationship with myself, my relationship with God, my connection to the world, nature, and the people that are in it. Boom.
Mm.
That's what matters to me today. And
Yeah.
so I have to get really clear. I'm like, what am I still struggling with in therapy? And I am still in the struggle of, sometimes I respond to my triggers with like old trauma response patterns,
Mhm.
and realizing I can logically know better tools all day. We call it my emotional backpack. But it's your trauma response can be so strong because you're wired a certain way, and your
Mhm.
body has kept you alive for a certain way. Like, sometimes it gets kicked into overdrive. So my therapist refers to it as like, if you're in a car rolling down a hill, before you're out of control, like pulling up the e-brake.
Mhm.
And so I've gotten so much better about being vulnerable, communicating with my husband. This is how I'm feeling today. This
Mm-hmm.
is what I need from you today. And here's what that looks like to me, and like, where are you and how are we?
Yeah.
And that is a vulnerable space to be in when you come from hyper independence, hyper performance. I don't need a man, I don't need anyone. Like, no, you need
Yeah.
help. We all need help. We're just not designed to do
Mm-hmm.
anything alone. So when you have old wounds that are not healed and you have trust issues and you won't let people in, it's going to be really hard to heal and to move forward in like healthy relationships and healthy ways that are
Mm-hmm.
not just like putting band-aids on your wounds, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when you're stepping into those courageous conversations like that I don't use that term lightly. This is not like uh we took the kids to this slide park where everything is like straight down before you get into the fun, you know.
Wait, in Yuma?
No, here in Scottsdale.
Oh, in Scottsdale. I was
Yeah.
like, Yuma, I've been to that one. There's like one water park.
Yeah. It's called Slick City Action Park.
Okay, cool.
And my daughter's like, I don't want to do that one. It's too steep, whatever. And I told her, I was like, hey, courage comes after the fear,
Yeah.
not before.
Yeah.
You got to do the thing that scares you before you receive
Yeah.
the benefit that we like to call courage. And we talk about it as if that's supposed to be there first. Oh,
Yeah.
he's such a courageous person, da 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 da. It's like, no. They're only courageous because they do shit that scares them.
Yeah, totally. I'm a big fan of Brene Brown. Do you know
Yeah.
her work?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, The Call to Courage on Netflix is a great documentary to watch, and a lot of her books are really good. But just talking about vulnerability and how it's the emotional exposure, there's uncertainty and risk, and you can't have courage without vulnerability. So it takes that moment of fear, and I'm making myself feel small and weak and in this moment. But then, yeah, on the other side of it is the connection or the courage. The book that I'm thinking of is The Gifts of Imperfection. I think she says the benefits of imperfection are courage, compassion, and connection.
Yeah.
So
100%. A conversation. We're sunsetting the gym so that I can move fully into this space.
cool.
And as we're moving through this transition, this season of our lives, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was an emotional dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Along the way. And in one of Nicole and I's conversations, she was like, "What do you need from me?" And it's so funny how we receive information, right? My primary love language is physical touch. And even though I'm making a lot of business decisions right now, her opinion, her insight, her feedback, her energy still matters because those decisions over here have ripple effects over here. And my answer to that was more physical touch. And as we engage in these conversations around these decisions, don't hold back or mince your words as a means to protect my feelings, because that doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
And her immediate response was, am I not doing those things? And I was like, no. I'm answering the question directly.
Right.
You asked me what I need from you.
Yeah.
Those are the two things I want. I want your honesty and transparency and more physical touch. And she's like, okay, yeah, got it. And to your point, about being vulnerable, when you can get beyond what's really helped me in that regard, because an earlier version of Michael, even though my wife and I have been together for 12 years now, married for 10, an earlier version of Michael would have come up with something completely esoteric and off the mark just because it was more comfortable.
Sure.
Right?
And not as honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Or maybe even you didn't know back then what you really need because you're disconnected from that, right?
Yep, absolutely, totally. So but one of the things that's really helped me in that endeavor is reconciling the fact that her response to my answering that question is not my responsibility.
Yeah.
And if I'm willing to just at the very least stand in my truth and
Yeah,
answer that question honestly, regardless of what comes back to me, I will feel better.
totally. And because that's where, I mean, okay, like the truth will set you free, da da da. There's all these quotes about the truth, but it's like so true. Like,
Mhm.
stand in your truth, live in your truth. Are you being truthful with yourself about your wants, your needs, your desires, your job? Is your job still making you happy? Or are you just doing it to please other people or because
Mhm.
other people are telling you you're so good at it? Like when I was leaving the Marine Corps, I had so many people being like, don't leave. You're like such a good Marine officer. You could do so many things. And I'm like, I have faith, first of all, in not in the Marine Corps. Like, this is not my end all be all. Like, this was great, served my time, but I know that God has a bigger plan for me, and I don't know what it is, but sure, I'm good at this, but I think that I was like made for something deeper than
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I was talking to my therapist yesterday too. She's like, yeah, husbands love a good cheat sheet. And I said, no, it's funny. I actually wrote my husband a cheat sheet because sometimes for me, writing things down or texting him things is easier for me to communicate something vulnerable than saying it face to face. And then he'll read it and receive it. And it just takes the tension, like some pressure off of me. But
Mm.
I was like in my head a few days ago, I think it was a week ago, last Sunday. So I wrote down, I was like, what do I need today? What does that look like? And how can I get that? And it was like, I need emotional connection from my husband. I
Mhm.
need him to spend quality time with me. And that looks like, yeah, holding my hand, sitting with me on the beach, listening to me talk about some things I've been wanting to share. How can I get that? Like, share with him that I need
Yeah.
these things so that he knows because he cannot read my mind.
Dude.
And so I just let him read my notes and he was like, got it. And we had a great day at the beach where it's like, thank God we didn't just go waste another day at the beach where we didn't know what each other needed. And I asked him like,
Mhm.
what do you need? And he's usually so like easy go lucky. And he's just like, yeah, that looks great. I need this or whatever. We're still working on Matt. He's still a Marine. So he's very still like, he is last. He takes care of everybody before himself, the
Mhm.
kids, me, the job. And so he's still got some barriers that we're working on of like, your happiness matters. Like you need a
Mhm.
hobby, you need friends and things that bring you joy. Like he just started fishing and cuz surfing's my thing.
Yeah.
He likes surfing, but it's not his thing. So,
Mhm.
we're trying to find him his thing, and I just look forward to the day when he's like out and he can just come home to himself and
Yeah.
all of that. But it's baby steps,
Totally.
and I'm just so thankful for him. He's a great partner. So,
Well, it sounds like you were when you get that feedback on your way out the door, especially when what hire told me leaving the Marine Corps mattered less than my Marines.
yeah.
I'll never forget one of my sergeants pulled me aside one, I'm telling everybody, I'm like, yeah, I got a couple of months left. I'm going on terminal, whatever. He's like, fuck, why do all the good ones get out? You know,
Because we have a thinking brain.
And I was like, dude, I got things I want to do, and
Yeah.
I remember being in Afghanistan, and uh, we we ran UAV operations with VMU-1, and we launched a bird, and we're waiting for it to get on target, and I got my CSCS book, and I've got a schematic of a gym that doesn't exist yet, and
Yeah.
my CO forward comes in on a health and comfort inspection. He's like, "What the fuck is all this?" And I was like, "Sir, I'm gonna start a gym one day." And he's like, "Well, when are you gonna do that?" I was like, "Well, I think I'm gonna stay in one more tour and then get it done." He's like, and I was older as a second lieutenant. I commissioned at 24, which isn't
I know
compared
now
to
we're like older,
yeah, I mean,
but
but like that 2 years of real life compared to the
yeah,
22
yeah,
year olds that were coming in
yeah,
is like, okay, we spent all week at the barracks. I'm not
yeah,
going bunking up with 8 dudes in a hotel room.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can afford my own things. Um, uh, I was like, yeah, he tells me, he's like, dude, if that's what you really want to do, you need to get out and do it.
Mhm, mhm.
First of all, the big green machine has
It's
been
gonna keep
going for
on
200
going. It's
years.
gonna keep
It's gonna keep on going without
exactly.
you. You are not the cog that's
Yeah,
gonna break the wheel.
right.
And so don't create that narrative for yourself. And at the same time, you got time and youth on your side. If you do one more tour at the pace that we're running, you you
Mhm.
you may not have the juice in the tank to make it happen. So if that's what and it was like, he of the 4 commanders I served under, he was the only one that like gave me the blessing to go do
Yeah.
the thing. And I think that's really funny. Let me ask you this. Do you find in your practice working with your clients that an underlying through line in your coaching, your guiding experience is like people just looking for permission to
Oh
be
my
to be the
gosh.
greatest, to be a greater version of themselves?
It's one of the number one things I recommend, and when I think back to my first therapy session, it was the number one thing my therapist said to me, "Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission." People are looking for it outside of themselves. So today I had a consultation and she told me all these things in the past year that were like so intense, and I just like, have you given yourself space to grieve this? And she's taking care of everybody. And I said, give yourself permission to grieve those things.
Mm.
So permission is a huge thing, and I think realizing like we have all the power to give ourselves everything that we need internally. Like I think we're better together, not in isolation. I was talking about this yesterday in therapy too. There's a difference between isolation and
Mhm.
solitude. You need
Mm.
solitude, intentional solitude and space to be alone. For
Yeah.
me, it would be in nature, but to sit with things, feel things deeply, reflect on things, because a lot of the times when we're asking for advice or seeking advice, we know the answer deep down. We just haven't sat with it in solitude or prayed about it long enough to give ourselves permission to listen
Yeah.
to the truth of the answer.
Mhm.
And so it's funny with your situation, I only had one. He was like a Bravo company commander, and I was slated to deploy with them, and I was going to have to extend to go on this deployment. And I was like, I know the Marine Corps, like, I don't know if I'm going to extend for this deployment and then maybe not go on it. And I
Mm.
was sitting down with the company commander, and he was like, he was a raider, like he was one of the CSOs, and really respected him. And he was the only one that said, if your heart's not really in this and you have other gifts and talents outside of this and you think you could lead and serve better in a different capacity, arena, environment, like go do that thing. And I was like, sir, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to give myself that permission at the time. And
Mhm.
or I was, but I was just wrestling with so much external
Yeah.
feedback. And I did have faith, but it was like a hard decision going back and forth and back and forth. And I
Mhm.
was engaged to my husband at the time, and I didn't want to get married on the Marine Corps terms. I was like, I want to
Yeah.
do things my way, have freedom. I mean, it sounds like you value it too, but I value autonomy and freedom and flexibility
Mhm.
so much that you just can't have those things when you're in the military. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the girls that I coach are rock star Marines.
Yeah.
Like they're infantry Marines
Mhm.
leading Marines doing all the awesome things, and they come to me for the human side of things, like, hey, I'm struggling with this self-doubt or taking this criticism that feels like it's because I'm a girl.
Yeah.
How do I navigate these things? And it's just really cool because I understand what that
Yeah.
feels like. I mean, my walk in the Marine Corps was not all sunshine and roses. There were a lot of really, really bad experiences. And part of it aided to like some of the existing trauma and the
Sure.
complex PTSD that I have. And I can see that now. But that organization is just such a different culture. The culture is just so strong,
Mhm.
especially as a minority and as a woman. There were a lot of times where it's like, my reputation matters more than my own feelings or my own needs right now. So
Mhm.
I'd rather not report something or tell somebody the truth of what just happened because I don't want people to see me as weak or
Mhm.
give them more evidence to support that I shouldn't be in this room.
Yeah. It was always interesting. when we were in TBS. And both my parents were career Air Force. They both did. My mom served for 26 years, retired as a full bird. My dad's a
Wow.
Mustang. My dad was a Mustang, did 20 years to the day and retired as a
Wow.
captain. And both of them, my father being a black officer, my mother being a
Yeah.
female officer, they're like, don't, as I pursued OCS, they were like, they just gave me so much great foresight
That's awesome.
born of their experiences, in that uh, do not walk in the room with that conscious awareness of being the only.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't serve you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And also walk into those rooms knowing that you belong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget graduating TBS, and there's a photo floating around social media of all of us black officers, all of us black lieutenants.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember leaning over my buddy who married my cousins, or married my wife's cousins. That's how I met my wife, was at their wedding.
Oh, cute.
And I remember looking over at him. I was like, dude, like, cement this picture in your brain, because it's the last time you'll see this many of us in one room ever again. And he's still in. He just picked up Lightbird, and he's like, and we check in from time to time, and it's like, he's like, damn, dude, like that's still real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much truth to that. And that's part of it, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
is your truth,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a paradox,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you walk into a room where you might not feel like you belong if you're the only. It's hard to separate the situational aspect of it to what is true, right? Like I have the same education and the same leadership capabilities, maybe not even the same, like you don't even have to compare them, right? Like I have my own unique leadership capabilities that I bring value to this room. I bring value to the table, especially for the women that I coach. Like I wish when I was in that I think I did a little bit, but I think now I see way more value in the empathetic side of being a woman. Whereas in the Marine Corps, a lot of people will say like women are emotional. And I'm like, you want to see someone get emotional? Talk to a man who doesn't think women should be in combat arms.
Yeah.
Like, watch him get emotional. But I'm like, empathy, being able to understand where people are coming from, and I don't know, there's just like the emotional side and the psychological side of leadership are so critical to getting people to do things that they don't want to do, right? Because that's what you do as a leader. You're like, here's where we are, here's where we need to be, we're going together, here's how we're doing it. And they don't want to do it. Like they're like, we're tired, we don't want to, whatever, we're complaining. Like, okay, at the end of the day, I think like the strategy for that for me as a leader was, I loved the quote that is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a weakness for me to show my Marines that I cared or ask how they're doing outside of work or whatever. And those are the relationships that to this day still matter. Like what I took with me from the Marine Corps were a ton of intangibles, a ton of obviously education, training, experience, great stuff. The most valuable thing I took with me from the Marine Corps was the relationships that I built with people who were from all over the world, and just so amazing. And then getting to reconnect with those people and sitting down, like I sat down with one of now he's a chief warrant officer, which is like also so cool. Cause one of my greatest accomplishments is when I left, I was the logistics officer for the battalion, and all of my Marines in my section were in school, like in continued education, taking a college course or something. So he ended up going to TBS, becoming a chief warrant officer. But when I was his OIC at the time, he was going through a divorce and a custody battle. And I didn't know how bad it was, but like I would check in on him. And so when I met with him later, a few years ago, before we left California, he was like, you saved my life. Like I was going through the darkest time of my life, and you checking in on me, letting me leave work early to go get my kids or take care of this, and not letting it affect my reflect his fitness reports and stuff. He was like, you we're just such a compassionate leader, and da, 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 and I'm like in tears, like, oh my gosh, I don't
Yeah.
know, I was just taking care of you at the time. Like, you were an awesome Marine going through a hard time. I didn't know it was that hard. So,
Yeah.
you just never know. Like, and he was Black as well. So,
Mhm.
being able to connect on some level of like, we have some shared struggles and stuff, working up against people's bias and
Yeah.
whatnot in an organization that I will say is like predominantly white men.
Mhm.
Right? Like when I went to Georgetown, I was like, whoa, there's like women in here, there's like Black people in here, people, Hispanic people, everybody's speaking different languages. I was like, the
Oh, yeah.
diversity in here is rich. And I had
Mhm.
not experienced that coming out of the Marine Corps. So
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
valuable.
I think, uh, in our, JJ Tid Tie Buckle,
Yeah.
I think empathy needs to be on that list somewhere.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
powerful.
the it's the way that I teach leadership now is now on the radar at the Thunderbird School of Global Management, because the way that we're taught and the way that we celebrate leadership is very much born of a World War II. The boys are coming home and they're combat
Yeah.
leaders, now business leaders mentality. And the ethos of mission Marines then me works to serve the mission of the Marine Corps. When the bullets are flying, the
Yeah.
bombs are dropping, and the decisions are needed at the speed of life and death,
Yeah.
it works and it is supremely effective. However, it is not great in the promotion of longevity and
Mhm.
in leadership over the long term, especially out here in the civilian world where things are
Yeah.
not moving at the pace
Right.
of life and death. It creates liabilities, not assets, out of leadership.
Absolutely.
And to your point, when was the last time that you made space for yourself or made yourself a priority in
Yeah.
next level speak? Like, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Put
you know
yourself on the checklist, on the to-do list.
yeah, one of my favorite exercises with clients is a time audit, where I make
Yeah.
them
Assess.
not even assess their day, but like the exercise is go as far forward in your calendar as you need to go to make a 1 hour appointment with and for yourself to do whatever. It does
Yeah.
not matter.
Yeah.
That is recurring during working hours.
Love it.
And it's like, oh
Hard for
man,
them. It's hard for them. It's hard.
and I did this in a workshop at Thunderbird, in a entrepreneurial negotiation cohort. And this guy had to go 13 months ahead to do
Whole
that.
year. Wow.
But it creates that emotional connection, like, holy shit,
And the
what am I
awareness.
what am
Yeah.
I doing? And then, that awareness then facilitates the work that actually needs to be done in terms of delegation and elimination. What
Yeah.
meetings don't I need to be in?
Yeah.
Where could my time be better served, et cetera? And just literally in the matter of 60 minutes, we were able to condense that
Yeah.
13-month timeline down to 3 weeks.
That's awesome.
It's like,
That's so powerful. Yeah, well, a lot of leaders are trying to control everything and micromanage
mhm.
everything and be in the room, and it's like, that's also not leadership.
Right.
You need to
Mhm.
be focused on the top decisions, and your energy needs to be in the most important spaces, and you are part of that because you as the leader have to fill your cup to be able to serve to other
Mhm.
people. But I agree. I always said, I mean, and I didn't deploy and serve in combat, but I went to SEER and I did all the training and, you
Yeah.
know, was training for the real deal and everything. But to me, it was always like, take care of the Marines and the Marines will take care of the mission.
Yep.
Like, you obviously know that the Marine Corps has some of like the craziest people, but that love each other
Mhm.
beyond, like, family. It is
Oh, yeah.
family. And so that mission statement served me. I
Mhm.
took care of my Marines and they took care of the mission and they took
Yeah.
care of me. And
100%.
I always got compliments on my section and my platoon. And it was like, I'm really not even doing anything. I'm just setting up the conditions for them to shine and
Yep.
for them to do, like, to give them the responsibility to feel like they are contributing and to challenge them because they
Oh, yeah.
want to be challenged. They don't want to
Mhm.
just be micromanaged.
Right. Mhm.
So what a privilege it was to be a Marine too. Like, I'm so glad that I'm not anymore, but that's how I get my fix is coaching the girls
Mhm.
who are Marines
Yeah.
still, or, some of my clients are like in the FBI, or they want to become a physical therapist, or they're in med school.
Mhm.
A lot of the high pressure environments where there's
Sure.
just a lot of pressure on them and they need a space to reflect about,
Mhm.
like, what's my identity outside of my professional role, what qualities, characteristics, and traits do I want to show up with as a leader? What are my values? Like the classic one is when I get a client and they're like, honor, courage, and commitment. And I'm like, that's great.
But that's
For
not
the Marine
yours.
Corps, but that's not, like, yeah, those are not your personal values. Like, what are your personal values? What is your personal mission statement? What
Mhm.
are the unique gifts that you bring as a
Mhm.
leader? Because those are things that nobody else can be. Those are things that other people can't replicate. And
Right.
when you realize, oh, these are my natural strengths, or
Yep.
this is what I'm best at, like,
Mhm.
lean into that.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be a small man and be like the leader that this dude is being. Like, I can tell you, it was not effective for me to raise my voice, be aggressive. None of that. None of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, what worked for me was being my silly self, coming and being authentic and lighthearted, but holding
Yeah.
boundaries and being
Mhm.
clear on the priorities, being a good communicator, and
Yeah.
beating everybody at PT. I always beat everybody. I could, like, really hold my own. I don't know about now, but, like, that earned a lot of respect too.
Yeah.
So it was
Well,
fun.
you're definitely an outlier in terms of uh females in the gun club that is the Marine Corps, in that there's no question, because that's always like the thing, right? Oh, could she drag a 200
Oh
pound
yeah.
man over the wall, blah, blah, blah. Like, you could, so shut the fuck up, you know
I
uh
know.
and
I like
so
so
that's
funny.
it's so funny, man. The oh, well, I was gonna ask you something. No, the
My
uh
husband's 6'5" and, like, strong, dude, and, like,
yeah.
we work out together and I beat him and stuff all the time. I mean, he's pound for pound, like, stronger than me,
Mhm.
but we work out together and we motivate each other. He's like, "You're
Yeah.
such a go-getter, like, I love working out with you. You push me to be my best," and I think that was one of the things that drew me to him in the beginning. Obviously, he hugged me and I was like, "I feel so small in his arms." Like, this is the safest place I've ever been. And then I was like walking around Quantico doing Nightland now, just like daydreaming about having his babies. I was like, this is the one. This is the one.
Ooh.
But no, yeah, like, we work out together and I love the fact that I can, like, swim faster than him.
Mhm.
Depends on the distance for sprinting, but, like, he is your typical, like, 6'5" poster boy Marine, and
Yeah.
I hold my own with him. So that's what's cool too. I don't think the world has seen a lot of women like me, but there are a lot of there are a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
women like me out
Mhm.
there. And
Totally.
I don't do CrossFit anymore. Like, I don't do as much of the intensity and the volume. I'm very much in a recovery and a rebuilding phase after having kids and being a high performer.
Yeah.
So I do, like, strength training 4 days a week, low impact stuff. But there are just some really strong women who are very competent and very physically capable. And
Mhm.
it is a whole nother discussion. I don't have black and white opinions about women in combat arms and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
I just think there's a lack of research and a lack of evidence. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can even say as a woman, I don't, like, love the fact that my husband would deploy with women no matter what MOS they are. But, like, that just means we got to improve our communication and our trust and everything, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
But I think there's a definite, like, chemical attraction between men and women, and it's just like
Mhm.
there's some factors there, but I think there's, like, really strategic ways to implement
Yeah.
competent, capable
Mhm.
women in various capacities within our military, and they are absolutely a lethal asset. And especially as our culture and our just society is changing with how many kids are on ADD medication, like how many people are even physically qualified to join. Like, women are becoming a more qualified population than the boys are,
Mm-hmm.
or the men, like out of high school and stuff. I remember talking to General Walters, and I was doing my research at Georgetown on challenges that women leaders face in the military. And he was talking to me about talent management and retention and recruiting. And my husband's doing recruiting now, so he's in the high schools and like sees the kids and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
that is not an envious job.
yeah. So it's just like it's that's a whole nother topic. But like I just
Yeah.
encourage for men and women, like I think to go back to the feminine and
Mm-hmm.
um, masculine natures of everything, like whatever environment we're in, whether it's coaching CrossFit
Mm-hmm.
together, leading Marines together, raising kids together,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. It's not a you versus them
Yeah.
mentality. It's like we're doing life together as human beings, and
Mm-hmm.
we have different unique assets that we bring. And the sooner we can realize that we complement each other, the
Mm-hmm.
better off the whole team will be, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So,
No, 100%. And, it is in any leadership capacity, the more centered you are and the more aligned you are with your presentation of said leadership, the more those that you lead will follow.
yeah, they feel
But
it.
it doesn't matter if we're talking Marines, we're talking about your team out in your respective organizations. Like if you are acting anything other than authentic, you
Authentic. Yeah.
you will be found out.
Right.
Like that is not you, you
Right.
know. Um, and I think that that's something that I've noticed in my leadership practice is, you know, people struggle to be who they are as leaders. Lord
Yeah.
knows I did for a really long time
Yeah.
because I am team and people driven, not task
Yeah.
driven.
Yeah.
So anything that wasn't front, I would challenge myself because I thought that was what being a good leader was, because I had to do
Sure.
so much shit that was not in that genius as a Marine,
Right.
paperwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I hated everything about it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I convinced myself in entrepreneurship that if my team bore witness to me, like skull dragging through programming or
Mhm.
doing the books or whatever, they'd be like, oh, he's doing the hard thing. He's a good leader. As
Mhm.
opposed to, as my awareness improved, if I just do the thing
That
that
I'm good at.
that I'm amazing at,
And then delegate the other stuff.
and also fills my cup along the
Yeah.
way, fuck man, everybody's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want to do is walk into a one-on-one after like just killing myself from the inside,
Yeah.
back in the office doing admin, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
So
that's a big reason I evolved Valkyrie Performance. I was like, I had a staff, I brought on other coaches and other women. And
okay.
then I had my son, and COVID was happening, and I was depressed, and I was like holding weekly meetings with these girls, trying to grow, pour into them. And I was like, I do not have it to give to a whole team. And my life coach at the time was like, what's the one thing you're good at? Strip it down to that. And it was
Mm.
like, I was resistant when I started my business to calling it my name, Taylor Galadyk, because the whole like as a Marine, it's not about me or I or yeah, talk about
I
resistance and
can I can
evolution.
100% relate to that. Oh
So
yeah.
I was like, evolve it, let
Hmm.
everybody go, tell them thank you for being part of this journey. It is
Hmm.
changing now. It's going to be called Taylor Galadyk Life Coaching. I'm not going to have a team, and I'm going to open my calendars when I can, open my calendar schedule when I can and
Hmm.
do the one thing that I'm good at. So I don't
Yeah.
have to like cancel it all, stop it all, or like keep grinding.
Yeah.
It was like I just needed somebody to give me the permission, right?
Yeah. There it is. There it
So
is.
now, it's Taylor Galadyk Life Coaching, and I don't really have a team, and I just open my schedule on Saturdays and once a week, and I'm taking on a few more clients now just because I'm feeling some of that energy come up where I'm desiring to. And I'm
Hmm.
very aware of like how much of this is a pattern to stay busy and how much of this is like, oh, I'm actually healing and setting a lot of boundaries. So now I have a lot more space and energy to welcome in some of this work that I've been putting on pause.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Taylor Galadyk, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you. I'm really happy that we finally got to connect, and I am excited to watch your journey evolve. Yeah.
Same. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for you. Like, good for you for evolving all the stuff that you're doing and realizing, it's going to be a leap of faith and there's going to be a lot of resistance coming your way as you're making that change. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also excited to watch you evolve. And I am very happy with how much more aligned this conversation was than I was anticipating it to be. I love when I can show up to something spontaneously now, have that flexible mindset, and let it flow
Hell
and
yeah.
like let the magic happen, and it turns out to be better than you thought it was going to be, and it was. So thank
Oh,
you.
that's awesome. Hell
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you a lot.
Well, I appreciate you, girl, for sure. Everybody out there, you can find this podcast and all the other resources associated with becoming the fittest leader at coachsters.com. Go check it out. And until next time, progress always.